College, a place of learning, fun activities, and of course, women. I'm sure there's nothing that can ruin this perfect paradise. Anime fans are no stranger to sports. There's basketball, volleyball, ass boxing, being gay, you know, just all the usual stuff. So when I came across a diving show called Grand Blue, I thought, diving. Sounds interesting enough. 8.5 on my anime list, that's pretty good. Maybe there'll even be a bit of ass boxing. But that's where you fall into Grand Blue's biggest trap. You thought you'd get to see scenic ocean dives, pretty girls in bikinis. But no, this is what you'll see. Calling Grand Blue a diving show is like calling Demon Slayer a fantasy show. Wait. Calling Grand Blue a diving show is like calling Spy Family a thriller. There's hints of it in the air somewhere. You know, if you get a dog to smell it out maybe. But that's not really the essence of the show. And the essence of Grand Blue is essentially what every naive high schooler thinks they'll do in college. Party, have wacky shenanigans, and somehow still manage to pass their classes. It has all the makings of an average slice of life, but with the intensity of Dragon Ball and the mind games of Hunter x Hunter. You have characters battling to the death over the chance to talk to a girl, battling to the death over the chance to make fun of each other, or battling to the death just to keep their pride. It's pure chaos, and I'm all here for it. Wait a second. The beautiful coastal scenery, the excessive amounts of alcohol consumption, all of the crazy people, there's only one conclusion. Grand Blue is set in goddamn Florida. Home of the Bud Light, land of Florida, man. In a way, Grand Blue starts off with your basic comedy premise. Iori thinks, I'm finally in college. I can begin anew and enjoy my life alongside this beautiful coastal scenery. Then immediately, bam, he witnesses a sausage fest on a level that even Germans have never seen. Then things only get worse. He shows up to college looking like an extra from an underwear commercial and everyone thinks he's a weirdo. It's a classic setup. Get a normal everyman and throw him into a ridiculous situation and madness ensues. Most of the time, the main character will fight against the force of chaos and you end up with some flimsy pushover of a character. Pathetic. Iori though becomes part of the chaos. You want to make him drink, he'll drink you straight to liver failure. You want to make him strip, he'll show up already barely wearing clothes. The other characters are like this as well. You got all the typical anime tropes. The weeb, the tsundere, the overly optimistic Genki girl. But if you look closer, you'll realize there's something slightly off about them. Koei's a weeb no doubt. Who else would dare to wander outside with an underage anime character on their shirt? But out of the guys, he's actually pretty attractive, and far from being shy. Shisa could be called a tsundere from all the death glares she gives Iori. But if you come back home and saw this, you'll be giving him the same treatment. She's also someone who genuinely enjoys diving and geeks out over it. Aina seems to fit her trope the most, until she gets some liquor in her and then she turns into whatever the hell this thing is. This is how Grand Blue subtly strays away from just being another comedy anime, because oh my god, there are a lot of those. You have countless rom-coms, action shows, and some true comedies sprinkled in there. Now if we think for a sec, are all these shows actually funny? Hell no. Obviously comedy is a subjective thing, so maybe this isn't true for everybody, but one thing you can't deny is that these shows follow a certain type of formula. If you pick a rom-com, well, you're probably gonna get some goofy ass main character, or will they won't they for 3 seasons, and a few of these kind of moments. If you choose an action show, you'll probably get some nice action, a few gags here and there, maybe some more of these moments. If you pick a straight comedy, you'll probably get a lot of random gags, funny characters, and a few of these moments too. Wait, I'm sensing a pattern here. Being that most of them can be boiled down to a few elements, after you watch a few of them, you still get bored of just seeing another show doing the exact same thing basically. There are only a few that transcend their genre. We're talking about shows like the rom-com that's actually Death Note, the alien that learned the ultimate ways of humans, procrastination, and Nichijou. An innocent little show about innocent little people, and there's absolutely nothing weird going on here at all. Yep, everything's perfectly normal. So where does Grand Blue fit in all this? One word. Alcoholism. When most of these shows do a gag, they might not bring it up again for the rest of the show, but this is where Grand Blue says, hold my flammable water. We're gonna commit to a bit so hard it becomes a core part of the show. For example, during the typical school festival episode, there's a beauty pageant, and Shisa reluctantly joins. Oh, will a look like that on her face? No way she's gonna win. So what does the combined genius of all the club members come up with? Throw a bunch of anime balls to make her all embarrassed? Yeah, that will work. You'd think the gag would end there, but after Shisa does end up winning, she announces to everyone that a half-naked drunk dude next to her is her boyfriend, throwing Iori into a hellish abyss of death threats for the rest of the show. Wait, aren't they cousins? Before you start calling me a weird guy on the internet praising their incest anime, I will now summon the long and esteemed anime tradition of they're not blood related. With this move, I shall be absolved of all wrongdoing. For as perfect as a comic can be though, there is one part that will always ruin the mood of an episode. It's when these cringe ass so-called friends come on screen. Every time they come on screen, I ready my cursor to immediately skip ahead, because there is absolutely nothing funny about these buffoons by themselves. To call them friends is in itself a stretch, because these leeches of human life force will only do anything in order to get laid. That's the only gag they have, nothing else. And they will use any means of torture and trickery to get a leg up on Iori and Kohei. It's the one part of the show that actually feels repetitive, because you know exactly what's what's gonna happen and know how it's gonna play out. These idiots will come with some new scheme to rid themselves of their Sherry status, and then they will ultimately always fail spectacularly. Thankfully though, most of the jokes in the show are much more nuanced. Take when Iori's sister comes for a visit. On the surface, it looks like Iori's cute little sister is coming to visit her dear brother. Oh, how wholesome, but deep down there's something more sinister. You see, as it turns out, Iori's sister is the biggest schemer of all. Since Iori's gone off to college, someone has to eventually inherit the family in, and she will do anything in her power to make that person her brother and not her. But now, with her brother barely coming home, things are becoming dire, so she's taking things into her own hands. The mission? Force her brother to come home by any means possible. Things start off late, get him hooked on some home cooking. This fails miserably. Iori is stupid and has the memory of a goldfish, so things step up a notch, make him seem creepy by offering to take a bath with him. This fails miserably. She completely forgot that the people here have no sense of public decency whatsoever. At this point, she decides she'll just find his report card and snitch on him to the parents. But then Iori walks in. Thinking he's onto her, she starts to get nervous. But Iori really is dumb as he gets. That is except one part. Iori may be completely oblivious to most things about his sister, but deep down, he does know that at her core, she doesn't want to be the one to inherit the family in, because he is her brother after all. It's that last bit that makes the show really special, because just as you think the show is nothing but absurdities, they'll hit you with a genuinely sincere moment to keep you on your toes. Just like how Iori's and Shisa's relationship is played for laughs most of the time, but then they'll have moments of genuine connection. Shisa will get passionate about diving with Iori, and Iori will genuinely try his best to learn more and be there and support her. Because behind all the drinking, stripping, and scheming, Iori is someone who values being genuine, and above all else, supporting people for who they are. Now, if you got to this point in the video and thought, hey, this seems like a pretty good show, I'm gonna go watch it. I'm gonna stop you right there. Because, and this might sound crazy, but what if you read it instead? I know, read. The last thing you read probably sounded like this. To be or to not to be? That is the question. So why should you read the manga instead of just watching the anime? Well, even though the anime is pretty funny, I think the manga is even funnier. This is pretty rare considering, anime has sound and movement, but there's something about the timing of going from page to page that's lost when you're watching the anime. Take the absurd reaction faces for instance. In the anime is good, don't get me wrong, and the animation in season 2 has been a bit of a step up, but something is missing. The details aren't as crisp, the expressions aren't as exaggerated. When you go to the manga though, things feel completely different. The panning lets you have some more average moments get passed by pretty quickly, which then leaves room for the actual punchline to carry more weight. You go from this, everyday kind of scene, then turn the page, and boom, a hideous contortion of the human face. So with that, I want to take a tour through some of the most beautiful panels of the manga in a segment I will call Taking a Gander at Grand Blue. For our first exhibition, we have a landscape of butt buddies. Observe the brilliant facial expression in this piece. Next, we have an elegant portrait of Shisa's back. Notice how the amazing line work leads the viewer's eyes to the focal point of the image. Finally, we have Super Saiyan Iori and Kohei. Look at how the lights and darks are masterfully separated, like you see in a Caravaggio piece. That concludes Taking a Gander at Grand Blue. Aren't those just lovely pictures? So seeing that you can get to experience that in all of its glory with the manga, why wouldn't you? If you need no reason to commit to the manga, consider this. In the time it took the anime to go from season 1 to season 2, Elden Ring got released, fans thought it was too easy, then the DLC dropped, and immediately fans thought it was too hard. Oshinoko started, and then crashed and burned, and worst of all, a month after season 2 started airing, Silksong, a game that was thought to potentially be a mass hallucination, somehow actually got a release date. But if all of that is still not enough to convince you of reading the manga, I'll give you this. Now this is a big spoiler, so click off if you don't want to be spoiled. I'll give it a few seconds. Okay, we good now? Iori and Shisa got married. We're in a friend zone could never.